Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is brought to you by Genesis House and the Friends in Recovery community, a thriving network of individuals who are fighting back against the stigma of addiction and recovery. Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is available on Facebook, Podbean, iTunes, and YouTube, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, here are your friends in recovery.
What's up, Chris? I had to drag you back up on stage here. I'm sorry.
On stage.
On stage, yes. Because we're in a big ballroom. welcome. That's right.
If the crowd would just keep it down.
That's right. Yes. Shh, everybody quiet. Departure quiet. Loge quiet.
Sweets promised me another bag of chips and a
yes,
candy
he
bar
did.
if I came
That's
back.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. Exactly. We of course we had to pull Meg up here to even us out to make us look good. So
it's all about the balance.
That's right. Exactly.
I think that she might be our, possibly some kind of MC for our little plan.
She could be. She could be the narrator for our little thing that we're gonna do.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
It sounds.
Tell us about your little thing, Ed.
Well, it goes like this.
Well, but
Sign up
for everybody else that doesn't know.
Tell us about it. What is it? What do you got going on here?
So our little thing that me and Chris are doing. So let me tell you the story. I don't know if I told you the story of how I met Chris. Okay, did I ever tell the story in the air?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Is it like our bathroom story?
No, it's close. It's close.
It's very close.
So I'm in St. Louis, Missouri, at a conference, and a good friend of both of ours invited both of us out to dinner, along with 30 other of his closest friends. Okay, and so I didn't know Chris at all, and I'm standing in the hotel lobby, and I hear this fucking annoying fucking voice from Britain or London, wherever the fucking guy was from. I was like, oh my God, what the fuck? So on and on and on. And Chris is very boisterous. He's a great guy. He loves giving his opinion, and he loves talking, and it's
my
okay.
opinion. That's
It's
all
cool.
it is.
It's cool. So
You own it.
at the time, I think Stacy said I had a headache, and I was like, motherfucker, man. I'm like, please don't put me in the car with this guy, because we had to take a couple Ubers over. And sure enough, this fucking guy sits right next to me in the car. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? This guy's sitting next to me. So a 10-minute ride over to the restaurant. That restaurant was a nice Italian restaurant.
It was very nice.
And we had a private room in the back. We had to wait about 15 minutes. And I moved far away from Chris. I was like, I don't need this shit in my life. I'm
totally unaware of all of this.
He has
angst,
no idea.
By the way.
I
I'm
know.
thinking that the guy likes me.
No idea what's going on, right? So I'm away. I'm standing in a corner doing, my corner thing, and I was like, all right, this is cool. I can get into this. So we all start filing in. I was the last guy in the room, and I sit down, and there's a chair next to me, and I'm looking around. I scan the room. Where's that fucking British guy? And there's a chair next to me, and all of a sudden, this guy sits down next to me. I was like, motherfucker, this is going to be a long night. Well, needless to say, him and I could not stop talking. And I don't think since October, you and I have not stopped talking a day, probably.
Not at all.
And we hit friendship. Our friendship is wonderful. He's in recovery. Obviously, as you guys know, and him and I talk. And actually, Chris, you got me running again, long distance that I wanted to run. You made me see. And
he was so annoying.
He ran away.
He started running again.
I started running again. Yes.
Well, I think the important thing to that was that we in this program we all become so focused on everything has to be just right.
Yes.
Right. And
Yep.
I have to run this fast, and I have to run this time,
Yep.
and I have to run this distance.
Yeah.
And when I got injured,
Yep.
I said, why am I at 65 at the time? At 65 years old, who am I trying to beat?
Yeah. Exactly.
The fact is I'm getting up in the morning and
Yeah.
I'm moving, and
Yeah.
your issue was,
And that's what
hey,
you
I
taught
can't
me,
run
yeah.
8-minute miles.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, who gives a shit
Yep,
if you
exactly.
run 8-minute miles?
Yep.
I don't care.
Yep.
Just get up and run.
Yeah. So I called him up a couple weeks ago, and I said, I think I'm going to run 10 miles. And he goes, you're dying to do it, aren't you? I said, yeah. He coached me a little bit, and I went out and ran. I called him up, and I said, Chris, I didn't run 10 miles. I ran fucking 11 miles today. And he was like, and I just took his information. So the thing is that we got together, and we just formed a really, really strong friendship, and I really I really appreciate that. Thank you, Chris.
Well, I'd also appreciate the fact that when we talked about my ocean row when we rode across the Atlantic, you're probably the only person that did not ask me where I took a shit. It's like 3,000 miles of ocean, I shit in the ocean. It's as simple as that.
And Chris accomplished a couple things that I learned at this table. He rowed across the Atlantic. He also did 7 ultra marathons in 7 days on 7 different continents, and I was just floored that somebody can do this. So I started thinking, like, what can we do? So him and I were kind of coming up with all this stuff, and I know this is a little scaled down, but
That's not.
but what we're gonna do, we came up with, we're gonna canoe or kayak the Delaware River in the fall, over 100 and some miles. We're gonna try to do, and we're calling it Recovery on a Raft, and we're asking folks, not asking, but we're just asking for your support. Just be there for us. Just think of us. That's all. So that's what we want to do, and so we're going to call it Recovery on a Raft. I think we're going to record most of it. And Miss Meg, I think you can do our narrating.
I'm feeling the bromance right here, you guys. I'm in the middle of this.
You're in the middle of it, right?
My wife is so tired of our friendship.
I know,
she is like, tell her to fuck off.
I know.
She goes, where are you going? I'm going to Boston. I really don't want to go. She goes, you going with Ed? I have to show these things to her because if I don't, she actually believes I've got somebody up here. Meg.
Sorry.
You're a beard, Meg. But no, so that's friendships come like you would. And Meg, same thing with you. I seen you on a podcast. I love the content that you had on your podcast, and we got you on a guest, and you, Mike and myself, we just clicked, the Podfather, and next thing we know, we're doing a podcast together, and
the next
it
thing
just
you know,
works.
I'm freaking best friends with your wife now.
I know. That's so weird. I know.
She doesn't like him. She's gonna like somebody.
Exactly. So, but that's how that works. And so, Recovery on the Raft is going to be me and Chris floating down the Delaware. What weekend is it?
It's actually
Labor
wanted
Day
to do
weekend.
it Labor Day weekend.
Yep.
No,
Memorial Day weekend.
Memorial
Day
weekend.
weekend.
Yeah, Memorial Day weekend. We've set that as obviously if there's some terrible.
Friday to Monday.
Yeah.
We're hoping to get it done a little bit earlier. And I think what we're going to do, too, before Recovery on the Raft starts, we're going to hike Mount Tammy. It's a 5-mile hike to Sunfish Pond and back.
Right. Yeah, my son was talking about coming with us because that's
Part of
the little
Trail.
bit of the Appalachian Trail.
Yeah,
Ryan did the Appalachian Trail the same year that I did the 7 Ultras.
Yep.
So he's going to bring his son with him, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 2.5 mile in, 2.5 mile back.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just to sort of commemorate his Appalachian Trail piece.
And we're going to be sitting our asses on a boat for the whole weekend, so I figured it'd be a good hike to get in. It's a little strenuous at points, and but this is what recovery brings us, and no matter what your recovery looks like, as long as you're forging forward and doing what you have to do, this is the shit that you can do. You can figure out where you are in your life. Again, I don't have to. Chris, you taught me I don't have to run that 8-minute miles. Meg, you taught me there is different parts of recovery. Sweets, you and I are on the same page as far as recovery goes. We learn from everybody, and we take a little piece of what we want to be and how we want to be. How we want to build our own lives.
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, we say that we started out structuring this as an 80-mile paddle. Mm-hmm. You said to me, "Hey, let's make it 100."
Yep.
I'm like, make it whatever you want. Whatever we cover over those 3 days is what we cover.
Yeah. But the cool part of this, Chris, is that now we have to plan it. We have to figure out the gear. Most of the gear. There's a lot of, you just don't jump on a raft and jump in and go down. Well,
you could.
You could. But,
I do, by the way. So that's what makes it really bad.
But it's that's what's cool about it. There's a lot of planning to it because I never planned in my life before. This is something. You could get hurt doing this if you think about
absolutely.
it. You really could.
Look, I joke about the row across the Atlantic. That was 8 months in the building. Not only building the boat on Shelter Island, putting it together, raising the money, actually physically building the boat, getting it to Africa. The minute you put your oar in the water, you go, "What the fuck am I doing?"
Exactly. But you do it. You do it.
And it's like anything else that you put your head down and you just put one foot in front of the other. This is one oar in front of the other, one paddle. Yeah. Look, we talked about it. Do we have to? I have no idea, but we've read the books on the Delaware. Yeah. You don't know what those conditions are going to be.
Yeah.
We don't know whether we're going to have to carry that kayak or that canoe or whatever it is that we do. We don't know whether we're going to go with a double or a single.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we did also say, hey, there's some delis on the way. Yeah. There's a couple of B&Bs on the way.
It's not how you do it. And here's I'm going to put a challenge out to you. And Meg, you're more than welcome. And Sweets, you're more than welcome to do this challenge too.
I won't.
Oh, I know you won't. This one you won't, and I don't think Miss Meg will either. But Chris might. So there's this thing that Jesse Eisler does. He doesn't do it. He did it once, okay? And you run the day of the month. You definitely won't do that. Meg, you want to join us?
I'm intrigued.
Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
So you run day one. You start at the beginning of the month, and I think I want to start in June because I should be fairly okay with
depending
with
on whether or not my knee has been
exactly
cut open and fixed or not.
So June 1st, I run 1 mile. June 2nd, you run 2, blah, 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 so on and so forth. And you're supposed to do it to the end of the month, 30 miles, 31, whatever it is. But here's the thing. You don't run it.
I don't think so.
No. But here's the thing. You don't have to run it all at one shot.
And here's the other issue that I get is that I do a thing called slogging, which is
Yes.
slow jogging.
I love
Yes.
it. That's
Right?
me.
Yeah.
So you slog. Now
I call that yogging.
Yogging.
J.
Yeah, right.
Yogging.
Is that your yogging outfit you're
I
wearing?
yog, yes.
So, I don't run fast. When we did the New York to D.C., I walked a lot of it. When
Yeah.
I do my 100 miles, I walk a tremendous amount of
Yeah.
it. You want to try and make it look like you're running,
Yeah.
so you do this sort of old man shuffle.
Yeah,
But the fact
absolutely.
is, it's about, again, putting one foot in
Yep.
front of the other.
Yeah.
It's about trying to adapt whatever it is you have to adapt during that time
Yeah.
period.
Yeah.
You're tired, you slow down.
Yeah, exactly.
You're
So-
hungry, you eat.
Yeah. So that's my challenge to you. But I'm gonna kind of make it a little different. I would only like to go to 15 days.
Okay, so you want to start on the 15th day, or you want to go from 1 to 15?
1 to 15.
Why don't
Okay,
you Why don't you pyramid up? Why don't you do 1 to 15 and then 15 down to 1?
Oh.
Oh, that's a good
great idea.
I like that idea.
enough.
You like that?
Okay.
That's why he's not only good looking, but
That's it.
smart.
Yeah.
So then
I'm not tall, but
So-
I'm definitely I know what I'm talking
So
about.
day 15, then
Sorry,
day
what did you say?
then day 16 would be 14, and so on and so forth.
Correct, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
like
again-
So
that.
that's a
Well,
challenge.
you'll get the
Doesn't
same. You'll get a similar amount.
Yeah.
You know
Yep.
what I mean?
Yep.
Okay.
And doesn't
Maybe
have to be
even
done
more.
so that you can do, as Ed had said, so on day 5, rather than running or walking those 5 miles, do 2 in the morning, 3
Yep.
in the afternoon.
That's it.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
You're
Exactly.
at 15, you do 3, 5, 3, whatever
Yep.
it is. you know.
Exactly. Exactly.
And-
So
But
that's
it's
my
a question
challenge.
of time, and
Yeah.
that's
Yes.
really it. Is you have to be able to allow for that time, because you reach 15 and you're walking.
Yep.
You're doing if you're just walking it, you're doing a minimum of 3.5 hours.
Yep. Exactly.
So you're getting
Well,
up really early, man.
if you choose,
It's
if you
gonna be
choose.
an
But here's the
adjustment for me.
thing: life
That's
is
a total of 240 miles,
Right.
by the way.
wow.
Yeah, which
Over the
is
course of how long?
which is the total of 7 marathons and 7 continents.
If you
and
do
so on.
1 to 15 and 15 down to 1,
Yeah.
that's a total of 240 miles in a month.
So we're gonna run 240 miles in June,
Right.
if you can.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'll walk it. If I can't run it, I will walk it.
Okay.
I will accept your challenge as
Okay.
long as I'm not on crutches.
Okay, June. That's when it
Yeah.
starts. So guys, look for our challenge in June, and this is kind of a little good.
Why don't you throw it out with that damn number that you have?
Oh yeah,
Look, this is a
what's the number,
virtual
Meg?
challenge.
617.
Sweet, what's that
If
number?
anybody wants to-
379-1163, is that it?
Yes.
Yeah,
if you
baby.
did the actual 30-day challenge, it's 465 miles.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's doubled
Oh.
almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. So actually, whoever wants to join us
Yep.
on that virtual challenge, we cannot be responsible for anything that happens to
Yep.
you. But it's a challenge that we if you guys want to tell us or email us if you want to do it and how you're coming across, and again, this is not sponsored by anybody, or
Nope.
we don't suggest, it has to be on you. You have to be physically fit to
Yep.
do it. If anybody wants to do it, give us an update if you want to do it and how you're doing.
I'm going to do my version.
Okay.
I'm going to call it the Day 1 Challenge.
The day one
You're going to
challenge.
get out of bed and come in here.
No, I'm going to run 1 mile, 1 day,
Okay.
and then quit.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I'm good
I
with
like that
that.
plan.
You want to do that one with me,
I'm
Meg?
down,
No.
I'm down.
Okay,
You're
I'm down.
sticking
good.
with the 15.
All right. Meg's doing the Day 1 Challenge.
There you go.
Day one.
But you know what? You're doing something. That's
That's
all
it.
that matters. It doesn't
mean,
fucking matter.
I
You're doing
appreciate
something.
that. But no,
Seriously.
no.
Let me tell you, when I ran my first mile, I thought that I couldn't believe it. You asked my wife, I called her, I said, I ran a mile.
That's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
13 minutes it took me to run
Yeah.
that mile.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I walked that fast.
Yeah.
But it sure as
Yeah.
hell felt
That's
like
okay.
I was running
That's
it.
okay. So what's some challenges that you put in your life, Meg, for
Me?
some of our folks out there? And it doesn't have to be physical. Like, what's some of the challenges that you do that might open up minds to somebody?
Don't punch a jerk in the face.
Yeah, I challenge myself to stay very centered when I'm driving. I try to let go of any controls that
Okay.
I have to manage other people's driving skills. On my way here,
Why weren't you with me this morning?
I had the experience where I can like sort of muscle people right out of the fast lane. It's like if you're not doing 80 or 90, get the fuck out of my way.
I agree.
So do I.
So I'm trying to let go of that control, and so I challenge myself to just accept the fact that it's going to take me some time to get to where I need to be.
Wayne
and
Dyer talked
wake
about
up
it on
early.
one of his podcasts.
Oh, the guy, the guy that
The
died?
dead guy?
The dead guy. If you listen to one of our past episodes, it's a dead guy.
Jesus.
That puts out new shows all the time, apparently.
We apologize to the Dyer family, by the way.
That's
Yes,
right. That's
we
right.
do.
We love Wayne. So, but challenge yourself, whatever it is, guys. That's what recovery brings. Whatever your recovery looks like, that's what recovery brings.
Yeah.
It brings these new challenges, new things in your life, new goals, new whatever it is.
To be serious about that, I did
Yeah.
actually set a goal for myself over the last 6 months. I've lost 40 pounds as a result of keto.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
I'm feeling like $1 million. Feeling like my old
Congratulations.
self before I became a drug addict.
Good. Hey, I know what challenge you can do.
What?
You can do the kitchen dance challenge.
Oh, you guys don't know about these kitchen dances.
I seen it for the first time the other day.
Unbelievable. My friend saw a little sign that was in like a Wayfair ad the other day that said, "This kitchen is for dancing." And she said, "I know what I'm getting you for your birthday." By the way, I think your Raft challenge is happening on my birthday weekend. This is like very
Oh.
Really?
special.
Okay.
So would you come out? Well, why don't you come out and sort of meet us somewhere along
Well,
the way
I
and have
could
lunch?
make that happen.
To
I could
Delaware
make that
Water
happen.
Gap.
Yeah.
She's gonna spend at the Delaware Water Gap hanging out with you and I.
Only for a couple of hours. Why
There you
not?
go.
Come on.
Might as well.
So now you have a challenge. You can do the kitchen dance challenge.
That's
how can
right.
how can we find that?
Okay, so you're going to have to friend me on Facebook because that's the only platform that has it now.
Oh, okay.
And you might be lucky enough to get one. I don't know.
Okay.
The vibe's got to be right. The song, I got to be feeling the song. And
You
then
have a
we
couple,
just
though.
turn it on, and then we go.
You have a couple, I think, right?
A
Do
couple
you have
what?
a couple kitchen dance?
Oh, I got
challenge?
about 250 in the phone saved.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Those are
Regular-
private.
There's
Yeah.
a private. Yeah.
Ooh.
That's a subscription.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
gotta get
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
subscription for that.
That's YouTube Premium. Sorry.
Yes, exactly. Sorry, folks. But they're great. They're great. So, but call us and let us know.
They are
and
something.
just they are. They're funny as shit. But you know what? It's pure. It's wonderful. It's somebody that's completely happy
Yeah,
in their
it's
life
true.
that has no worries. You just get there. I love watching it. I watched it the other day. I'm like, this is a beautiful human being just enjoying her life. It really was. That's
It's
what
true.
it was.
And I just let it go. And guys, that's the challenge right there. Okay, we want to talk about a challenge. I used to not be able to raise my hand in class when I was a kid on stage doing
Mm-hmm.
dance recitals. I would scream until somebody would come and get me. Now I'm doing dance videos in my kitchen for the world to see.
That's
the
wonderful.
shit that happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Sweets, any challenges that you? I mean, you
I
don't
mean,
have to. You don't have to.
I just also lost a bunch of weight. I
Good.
challenged myself
Nice.
at the gym.
Good.
I challenged myself in my body and my ability and my mind
Mm-hmm.
because the mind is the most powerful muscle.
Yeah.
Yep.
That when I think I'm done, I'm not done, and I've challenged myself to push through a lot of barriers there. My favorite challenge of all time is when I put an address into the GPS, and it gives me how long it's supposed to take me to get there. And I immediately feel the challenge arise
Yes.
Thank
that
you.
I need to win this.
Yes.
Like it's a game,
Yes.
right? And so, I'm on the highway and I'm measuring out the minutes in my mind. I'm not crushing the speed limit, but I'm also,
You're doing okay.
I'm flexing. I'm
Yeah.
flexing the speed limit just a little bit. And so that's one of my favorite challenges, and it's a W. It's a little W.
It is.
but they all add up.
It's,
I
and
just-
you know what I mean?
it's a
So-
check in the W column.
So
That's
it
all that
doesn't
matters.
it doesn't matter what the challenge is.
That's
it's just
right.
those little W's that add up and they make you
Yeah.
feel good.
That's
They make you
right.
feel like you're getting somewhere.
Exactly.
That's right.
And
You know what I
you're
mean?
everybody,
Like my red dot game.
Exactly. Your
The
red dot game.
challenge. Yeah, I'm
you
winning right now.
spoke- You're winning. Good.
I'm winning, yeah.
Good.
I haven't paid attention to half the shit we talked about today, but I am
But you
winning,
are winning.
the red dot challenge on my phone. I have no red dots right now.
Good.
I just
But-
want to say
but-
I beat the GPS challenge this
Didn't it feel
morning.
Nice.
Oh, me too.
3 minutes.
But how many?
I pulled in there.
Wow.
Probably
once.
one of the most satisfying things
But
I do on a daily
I've never
basis.
did that
Also got
challenge.
the finger
Never?
from the
No,
girl
never
who
had it.
slammed her brakes on in front of me in the left lane because she just would
But you
not
won
move
though.
over.
But
But
you
you
won the
won.
challenge.
That's
the,
it.
And then
That's
she
all that
videoed
matters.
me, by the way. She
I
went
know.
by on her phone. Went, oh my God, really?
But here's
But-
the thing: challenges, or what did you say in a previous show?
set goals so high they scare you.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that could be walking around the block.
Yeah.
That could be scary for some people. That could be running a mile.
Push
That
your
could
limits.
be not eating chocolate one day. Whatever.
I don't know.
Well,
That
that's
can be
scary, man.
get
Can you
up.
imagine a day
Let's
without
not
chocolate?
be ridiculous, okay? Let's not be silly
Go
over
over
here.
That
Yeah.
can be going to your first meeting
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and saying,
absolutely.
hi, I'm X.
Yeah.
I'm an alcoholic, or I'm I'm an addict.
Yep.
And that
that's
to
a
me,
huge challenge.
I remember my first meeting back in the Hamptons. I was terrified to go in there. I had never, when I left Southampton, I had never admitted that.
Yep.
I get in, I knew half the people in the room, and I nearly puked when I got up and said that. That was an incredible challenge, and that changed my life.
Yeah.
So how many of us in here does that change? That's an incredible challenge.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, no, and it's great challenges, and you know, we just have to keep challenging ourselves, be healthy, and challenge ourselves, and you know, so that's it, guys. I just wanted to get up here and kind of give you this little bonus episode.
I did buy a boat.
You did? Yes.
We may possibly have the special raft that I drove to Pennsylvania.
That's it. The recovery. It's called Recovery on a Raft. Look for it on all of our Facebook Friends in Recovery Facebook pages. We'll post more about it, and you can email us or call us at
617.
379. Is it 379?
Yeah.
Sweet's got it.
617-379-1163.
Come on.
1163.
It's on the screen. It's on the screen, damn it. Yeah, it's on the screen. Yeah, right there.
Yeah, look at it right there. Okay, so. But that's it, guys. Thank you very much, and I hope you like this bonus episode. And we're gonna try to get a little more of these bonus episodes out, so you kind of figure out the little bit of behind the scenes of us.
And keep beating the GPS.
Yes,
absolutely.
Beat it.
Don't worry about that girl that gives you the finger and then takes video.
Just keep winning.
That's right. Keep winning. Stay sober.
That concludes this episode of Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast. Thanks to Genesis House for supporting those on the path to recovery and for keeping this valuable resource free for our Friends in Recovery community. Follow us on Facebook for past shows and updates. If you're interested in becoming a guest on the show, email us at help@friendsinrecoverypodcast.com. If you can't get enough of Mike the Podfather and Jersey Ed, you can catch them on Answering the Call, the First Responder podcast, available on Facebook, Podbean, iTunes, and YouTube.